Channel. It is day 4 of Summerween, which is a readathon hosted by Gabby Reads, which is all about bringing the spooky vibes of Halloween into the summertime. Hopefully in this video I can finish more books than I did from my day 1 to 3 video, which was 0. So if I finish one, that'll be great. No, I'm almost done Dead 11. I'm almost done It Came from the Closet, and then I have these 2 potentials that I can get through in the next 4 days. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a bike ride with my daughter today, and then I also got some pumpkin and I'm going to bake a fall treat later in the day as well. So happy reading. That I literally never do, and that is experiment with baking. I'm very serious when it comes to cooking and baking. Like, I'm not imaginative, so I can't just think, oh, we should replace this with this, or if I add a little bit more of this, it would make this recipe better. I follow recipes to a T, like it annoys my husband, and I always feel like that's why I'm a good baker, because like you're supposed to follow recipes like to a T. So whenever I bake things, they turn out really good, but whenever I cook things, not so much. So I have this recipe that was my mom's recipe, and it's for a banana cake, which is what I made. So the recipe and everything is like a regular cake recipe, but I add 2 ripe bananas to it. But what I wanted to do instead of just finding like a pumpkin cake recipe, I thought, well, the bananas are mushed, so instead of adding the bananas, the mushed banana, I will just add that same amount of pumpkin, like pumpkin puree. So I'm sure there's probably, like, if I was like an actual like baker, there would probably be like, you know, in my mind of like, oh, well, pumpkin is blah, 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 whatever more than banana, so I need more of it or I need less of it. I'm just gonna add like the same amount of banana that I would add. I'm just gonna do it with pumpkin and hope for the best. So wish me luck. Okay, I have no book update, but I do have a cake update. So I haven't tried it yet. I did try the batter and it tasted good. It doesn't taste that pumpkin-y. Like, I probably could have added more pumpkin. It's good. Like, okay. I won't talk with my mouth full. It's good. You can probably, Bailey, get out of there. If you could see all the dogs that are mooching. I'd say if the banana version of this is 10 out of 10, then I would probably give this like a 7. I don't actually love pumpkin that much. Like, I like it, but I don't love it, which is funny considering how frequently I'm getting these like pumpkin spice day lists, which I had another one this evening. It was like warm, cozy pumpkin spice Monday evening or something like that. Anyways, the cake is good, and yeah, that's all. Good night. Okay, I just watched back what I just filmed, and I didn't really feel like setting everything up, but I feel like I wasn't like hyped enough that it like turned out good, because honestly I was expecting it to like explode. Like, I never really, like I said, experiment with baking or cooking, and yeah, I was honestly just expecting it to like explode, or like the pumpkin reacts with like the sour cream and it like creates this like chemical reaction. That's like what I was anticipating. So the fact that it actually turned out like a legitimate pumpkin cake, I'd say is very impressive, and I'm very proud of myself. And can you see my my child's Moana Band-Aid. I cut my thumb opening the sour cream lid, which I don't know how I did that. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself that my cake didn't explode and it actually tastes like a cake. I am a baker.
There's like a lot of things. I'd probably start with.
I like the way she smiles. She got me staring for a while. Got me staring for a while. Yeah, yeah. Baby, it's our conversation. She's my favorite notification. She knows how to dress for special occasions. She got me thinking life could be.
This is how I've decided I am doing this update because it's just easier right now. It's 11:30 and I have finished a book. Oh my gosh, day 5 into Summerween and she has finished her first book. Wow, give the girl a round of applause. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of vlogging, but I did do some reading apparently. So the first 3 days I did more vlogging and apparently less reading. And then this vlog I have done more reading, less vlogging. So there's not a lot of footage and things. I went to the beach, but I've pretty much gone to the beach like every day and I didn't feel like my vlogs needed more suburban beach content, so I left it out. Okay, yeah, so how do we feel? I really liked the beginning of this book. Like I was just really liking as I said, the multiple POVs, the different formats, the kind of mixed media element. And then like it kind of lost me. Like I started to feel like it was really long. It was like 430 plus pages and it was just too long. It was just too much of the same thing, like kind of repetitive, kind of like it was really like slowly paced, and I was really enjoying it at first, and then by like the 70% mark I was like, oh my god, how much longer is this book gonna go on for? Anyways, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I don't know what else I was expecting, but like I just kind of thought it was stupid. I don't know, that's a really mean thing to say. I liked how it was okay, I'm gonna try this again. I liked how it was written. The atmosphere was good. The mixed media was good. The characters felt very distinct. I just think it got a little too long near the end for me. And where it went, it kind of seemed, like I think I thought it was going to go in like a totally different direction. And not that I don't like the direction it went. I don't know what I'm trying to say to you. It's late. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick because it is fucking hot in my house and I'm upstairs and we don't have AC. We just have like 2 portable ACs and one is downstairs in like the main living area. And then the other one is in my daughter's bedroom. So we don't actually have one for the upstairs. So it is really hot and I'm sweating. So I'm just gonna try to do this really fast. So I said last night, but was kind of incoherent. I finished at 11. And overall, I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I actually was really enjoying the first bit of this. I'd say the first half of it for me was like a 4, but then the last half was kind of like a 3. So I guess it's kind of technically around a 3.5. I just felt like it was really starting to drag. Like I feel like about like at the 60% mark, you kind of understood clearly what was going on and it was pretty obvious like what was happening and what was going to happen, but then the book just like kept going and going and going and going and going, and yeah, it just dragged a bit for me. And everything at the end, I don't know, just kind of seemed like a little silly. I don't know. Either way, I still enjoyed it. I still feel like it was a good book. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. And then so far there are 2 more stories that I really liked in here. And one was Loving Annie Hayworth by Laura Ma, and it was about the birds. And then one I just finished called The Trail of His Flames by Tucker Lieberman about Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think I'm finding that the ones that I really like are centered around movies that I haven't seen, but where the author like describes the movie really well in detail, because both of those had those, and I really enjoyed them both, because I enjoyed getting like that play-by-play of the movie that I had never seen. The stories themselves were good as well, but I think that I really enjoyed that aspect. The one about the birds, she was talking about the two main characters in that movie, kind of doing like a are they or are they not in love kind of dance with each other, and she had that kind of relationship with her best friend growing up, so she discussed those two things. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street one I really liked because the author goes through like as Nancy, day 1, day 2, day 3 reflections, and he kind of reflects her story in the movie and goes through that and relates it to a situation that he had with one of his friends and a falling apart of that relationship. And so those ones I really liked. I'd say they're both 4.5 or 5 stars. All the other stories have kind of been like a 3, 3.5, but those are the standouts. And then I'm also about 40 pages into this. This is just a short little novella, Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss. And it has intrigued me from like the very first page. So the first 2 pages is told in third person, and it's about a girl, I think, or a woman getting walked out. She's tied up, she's like stripped, her hair's cut, and it seems like she's going to be like sacrificed or like hung, or it's like a kind of witch trial type of situation or a sacrifice situation. It doesn't really say, but the writing in those 2 pages was so like vivid and beautiful. And then we switch perspectives to first person, and we're following Sylvie, a 17-year-old girl who is with her mom and dad, and her dad is very abusive, and they are in this camp where it seems like it's like a school camp. Like there's a professor and 3 students who are older than Sylvie, and they are living as if they're in the Iron Ages, and like they're foraging for food, they're not using like modern technology, they're like living as if they aren't in civilization. And her dad, Sylvie's dad, is very obsessed with living as if he's like in the Iron Ages. But I'm very intrigued to see how the 2 POVs like mesh, and if we're gonna get more from like that first POV. I'll probably finish this like pretty quickly because it's very short, and I can finish that today. And then I'm hoping to start another book and finish that tonight and tomorrow for the last day of Summerween. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs into the AC because it is so hot up here. So goodbye. Of Summerween. I am at my parents' house. I had to come here to water the plants. They've been gone for a couple weeks and they still don't get back for a few more days. I realized today that I forgot to water a couple of the hanging plants. So Mom, if you're watching this, I'm very sorry, but they were very shriveled and dead looking. I did try to deadhead them and water them, but I don't think that they are gonna make it, so my bad. Yeah, so I had to come here anyways, and my parents have this really nice like canopy on their back deck, and I thought it would be nice to do some reading in there, especially because it has like a little mesh covering. I like to read outside, but I hate bugs, so I figured it would be nice to read on the balcony, close off the little mesh part, and I could read like late into the evening out there. My husband and my daughter left today for Ontario, and they're gone for just under a week, so I get to have a little bit of free time, so I'm hoping to get lots of reading done. So yeah, I'm gonna finish off the last few stories in here. Since I checked in last, nothing has really stood out. But I did finish Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss, which is just this little 130-page novella. And I don't really know how to feel about this one. So like I already explained, Sylvie is in this camp with her dad and her mom and these 3 students and this professor. And her dad is obsessed with being in the Iron Ages, and he's also obsessed with this like sacrifice that used to happen to like the bog. And that was what we got at the beginning. How I was saying, I wonder how those two are gonna tie in. That is how they tie in. We just get this like glimpse of this sacrifice, and her dad and this professor are like obsessed with this, the idea of this sacrifice. But that whole thing, like them finding a ghost wall and like how the synopsis says, how far will they go? That doesn't really start to happen until page 115, and it's only 130 pages long. So we don't really get like a resolution, like it just kind of stops. And I really wanted like 100 more pages of this so that we could get those resolutions, like what happened to this person and what happened to this person, and we don't get that. But I also feel like I'm going to be thinking about this book like for a really long time. And I feel like with all the things that I've mentioned, I'm kind of landing on a 3.5, but I feel like as time goes by and as I like keep thinking about it and keep thinking about it, I'm probably going to bump it up to like a 4 in my mind. But yeah, I'm happy to have finished another book. I'm gonna read the last few stories in here, wait for it to cool down a bit, and then once it's a little bit cooler, I'll be able to finish up and get some reading into the evening outside. It is the next day. I have finished in the closet, and I also got like 115 pages into Reckless Girls, and then I'm just gonna finish it today and just kind of extend Summerween by one more day. And because I really wanted to read more than just 3 books. I really wanted to read 4. So this is me bending the rules. I'm just taking a break from reading though to walk the dogs. We have 3 dogs. Well, I have 3 dogs in my house right now. Bailey gets the first walk, but just a short one because she's very fluffy and she's gonna get too hot. So in the last chunk that I read, there were 2 stories that stood out. One was Bad Hombre by Sarah Fonseca. I think that's how you say the last name. And it was about this movie that took place in Cuba called Is That You? And it was about like domestic violence, and her story was about domestic violence, and oh my gosh, it was rough. Like her descriptions of the movie and everything that happened in there was very vivid, and it was hard to read, but it was still very good. And then there was a story on Get Out called Black Body Snatchers by Samuel Ottman, and that one was really good. I think I'm giving that one like 4.5 or 5 stars. Yeah, and it recounted the movie really well and talked about his experiences being, a black man living in a mainly white area in Utah where the black population is like less than 1%, and how like although the movie Get Out was like a horror movie, the realities of it living as a black man in a very white neighborhood was still like a horror in amongst itself, and that one was really good as well. Yeah, so overall, if I add up all of the individual ratings for each story, I get like a 3.62. I'm gonna round it up to 4 on Goodreads because it really bothers me that Goodreads doesn't have the option to do like a half rating. Like I can't put 3.5 because there's a big difference to me between a 3-star and a 4-star. But I'm gonna get Bailey back home, and then we'll have a new dog and a new book to talk about. Okay, so I now have Jax. I walked Pelly, but I didn't talk about anything because he's very annoying to walk. He's always getting like tangled in his leash. Anyways, I also have, so I'm just walking Jax now. Jax, say hi. I'd say Jax is the best walker because Bailey is like really big, and like when she decides that she doesn't want to move or go anywhere, she's like a dead weight. And Pelly is just like tiny and always getting tangled, but Jax is good. I mean, when other dogs come, he's kind of an asshole, but when he's just walking, he has, like you could probably see on his face, people are always like, oh, he has a muzzle, but no, it's not a muzzle, it's just to stop him from pulling. So when he has that on, he is very lovely to walk with. I don't know if it's just because like he's my dog, so I'm used to it. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about the dogs. So I'm 106 17 pages into Reckless Girls, and I'm really liking it so far. It's one of those books where like you could definitely read it in one sitting, like, and I haven't had a book like that in a while. Yeah, it's about, so the synopsis says it's 6 people like in their early 20s that are on this island, and I thought it was like 6 friends, but it's actually a couple, Nico and Lux, and then they meet these 2 girls in Hawaii who want to pay them $50,000 to sail them out to this deserted island called Moreau Island so that they can spend like 2 weeks there. So for the first like 100 pages or so of the book, it's them 4 and they're meeting and they're sailing, and then when they get there they meet these other 2 people on the island, Jake and Eliza, who are a couple, and then it's the 6 of them. So it's like the 3 pairs, and they don't really know each other before they decide to go sailing. And so we're getting like the present perspective, and then we're also getting some chapters of before. And the now chapters are told in first person from Lux's point of view, and the before chapters are told in third person, and they're just like little short ones, so it's mainly the present timeline, and we only get like little bits. So far we're only getting little bits in the before timeline, and it's doing a lot of foreshadowing. Like it'll say things like, and looking back, it was this moment where like things changed. So far in the before chapters, we've gotten to see Lux meeting Nico, and then also we get some stuff from Brittany and Amma, which is the 2 girls that they meet. And in their chapters, it's like talking about how they're only friends or they're only close because this bad thing like happened to both of them. And they say like, oh, we'll tell people that we met in college and that we're friends from college, but really like something happened in their past that is the reason that they're friends, and they're trying to like go traveling kind of as a fresh start, but we don't quite know yet what those reasons are. And then also in their chapters they're talking about how they're like broke, so then it has me wondering like, okay, so where are you getting $50,000 to pay these people to sail you to this remote island? So yeah, it has me really intrigued. I'm liking the writing so far. It's just very like basic, good, intriguing thriller. So I'm having fun so far. I'm going to finish it, and then I'll have one last update for you, and then Summerween will be over. Okay, I'm in the parkade at my work, so the lighting is gonna look like shit and the sound is gonna sound like shit, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I finished Reckless Girls before I came in, and I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I actually had a lot of fun with it. As the story went on, we kept getting more of like the before pieces, where we got a little bit more of Amma and Brittany's story, a little bit more of Eliza and Jake's story. And yeah, it was fun and enjoyable. One of the like twists was kind of obvious, but I still liked it. I didn't, however, so it ended and then it had like a little interview chunk, and then it had an epilogue, and I feel like it didn't need the interview, it didn't need the epilogue. I feel like it could have just ended where it ended. It kind of left something hanging just a little bit, and the epilogue didn't really piece that together for me. I just felt like it was kind of unnecessary and seemed maybe a little bit out of character for the character that was involved, but either way, I still had a really good time. It reminded me of The Opportunist by Elise Friedman, just kind of like this big revenge plot where the characters like put a lot of energy and time into getting revenge. And yeah, I really liked it. So Summerween is over. I think it was pretty successful. I had a 3-star horror, a 4-star horror, a 3.5-star anthology, and then a 4-star thriller. And as for the bingo board, I finished a book set in summer, a book with 5 words in the title, a horror, and a book with the night sky on the cover. And I also made a fall treat, read a book in the dark, read a book outside, so I think I got 2 bingos. So yeah, that concludes my first Summerween. I gotta go into work now, but thank you for watching if you did, and have a good night.